Welcome to the HR Data Labs podcast, now part of the Work Defined Podcast Network. Join us as we explore the vital role of compensation, strategy, data, and people analytics in navigating today's complex business world. With the resources of Work Defined, we're now bringing you deeper insights and actionable ideas from top experts. Now, here is your host, David Turetsky. Hello and welcome to the HR Data Labs podcast. I am your host, David Turetsky. And like always, we try and find the rock stars inside and outside of HR to tell you what's happening today. And I got to tell you, this is my fanboy moment of my year because I finally have Jess Von Bank in my podcast. Jess, I am awestruck.
Oh my gosh, this is too much. Literally too
Not
much.
only that, but you're actually wearing a rock star t-shirt.
I know, when you say that. I mean, that is my uniform. If I could just live in a different rocker tee, I probably have 20. You know, I like to know what people collect. And for me, it's probably rocker tees and race medals. I love collecting race medals.
What medals?
Racing.
Oh, racing. Okay. I don't even know that.
I should have saved that when you ask me an interesting question at the end.
Yes.
We'll get to that.
It's not the end, actually. It's coming up in a little bit.
Okay.
But first, if there's somebody who doesn't know who Jess is, describe for everybody who you are and where you've gotten to get to today.
Wow, how long do I have for this? Well, hi, everybody. I am Jess Von Bank, and I'm humbled to be here. I've spent my whole career in this industry. And when I say that, I always think it's funny because some people talk about me like Jess working in HR. I'm like, oh, I don't work in HR. Like, but I do. I work in technology. I have been on the technology side many, many times. So when I say this industry, I guess I just mean people and work and talent. I did grow up as a practitioner on the talent side before I went vendor side. And now I'm in the consulting world. I'm an industry analyst. I look at everything. I look at all of the solutions we're making and how we're integrating them into the flow of work, but not just the flow of work, like our human lives. Is this actually making us better? Are we developing ourselves? Like, what are we all doing this for? Because work is work, but I hope it's for a purpose and for good reason. And I hope it's leaving us better than it found us. So I take a pretty human lens to everything I do. I have to, because there aren't enough women voices in the space of technology and AI and work design. I'm raising 3 daughters. I run a nonprofit for girls. So I'm also an advocate. I'm a huge advocate at the end of the day.
And any one of those things is superhero, right? Mothers today, they do superhero stuff. But the fact that you do that all and you have time to run a nonprofit on top of that.
Why do you think I run races for fun? I have to get away. The only peace I find is out on a race course.
That's incredible. 5Ks, 10Ks.
What's that?
Full. 5Ks, 10Ks are full.
5K would be like a morning run for me. I mean, if you're really training, I have done more than 30 endurance races in my life so far. I'm going to say so far because I'm not done yet. And who knew? I literally could not have predicted that long distance relay races would be my go-to because I was not a runner ever, and definitely not a long distance runner. But I've done about 15 or 16 Ragnar races, which are 200-mile relay races.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I've only done 5Ks.
Get off the grid. I get off the grid.
Yeah, you really do. I have only done 5Ks, so I'm in awe of that too because I started running at 50. So,
see, I feel like running is something anybody can find at any time for any reason.
Yeah, but don't wait too long because your body will give out faster.
Oh, it's terrible for your body. It's literally terrible. The best thing you can do is walk, and I kind of hate walking. I would rather run.
Well, I will hopefully see you in New York City one time and we can race walk.
Oh, I love it. We'll do it.
But Jess, what we ask every one of our guests on the HR Data Lab podcast is, what's one fun thing that no one knows about you?
Well, see, I already shared my racing thing. One thing that when I'm asked to share like sort of like an interesting fact that nobody knows, I sort of hate sharing it because then everybody wants to test me, but I do have a stupid human trick and I can kind of explain it. I still am a big reader, and this is probably where that comes from, but I can tell you how many letters are in any word without thinking twice.
Really?
Everybody wants to test me when I say that.
No, I will not. I
But,
won't.
like, if you said dictionary, I say 10, like, because it's literally like a
Yes. You can map it out.
I see the word and I see like, it's weird. I know the letter count of every single word, as long as I know how to spell it, and I'm a really good speller, so
Well,
I
that is
was a
a
serious
unique.
bookworm growing up.
Seriously, yeah. That is very unique. No one's
Yeah.
ever said that before. Holger, you know Holger Mueller?
Oh, yeah, I love Holger.
Yes, Holger was a beach volleyball player when he was young, Olympic level.
How did I not know this about Holger?
Yeah.
He's another runner. Well, that
Yes,
doesn't
well,
surprise me.
and he's also got the best sneakers in the world.
Best sneakers, best hair, even after he
Best
cut
hair.
it, he
Yeah,
did cut off the
yeah. Well, today, Jess, we have a really interesting topic, and it's a topic that's close to your heart, topic close to mine as an ally. We're going to be looking at the world with a different set of lenses, how
Yeah.
women should be at the center of our design decisions, or actually having them make the design for us.
Yes, I do like to be provocative when it comes to technology and now AI. It's not provocative. It's not like throwaway. Uh, provocation. It's for a reason. I think that we're going a little fast, and I get it. I get it because there's commercial gain to be had. We're going really, really fast with something that is designed for speed. And so we're going to have a whole bunch of oh shit moments. We already are around what are we actually doing here
Doing. Yeah,
with AI. And so the reason I offer a different set of lenses is so that we can ask different questions and use a bunch of values and value systems that have been historically undervalued. Keep in mind, we live in a commercial society.
right,
Much of the world is a capitalist society. And so when we design things for gain, it's for commercial gain.
right,
And again, I get that. People have to make products to sell to people to
right,
make money, or what are we doing it for anyway? But I do think when we're talking about something like AI, it is powerful. It is world changing. It is transformative. It's all of
right,
these things. And so if the only thing we're optimizing for is commercial outputs and commercial gain and speed and efficiency and productivity, if that's the only thing we're doing, we're going to do that really, really fast, and we're going to do it at any cost. And unfortunately, we're already seeing what it means to, like what we give up when we say at any cost. We give up privacy. We give up
freedom.
freedom. We're giving up our right to even interrupt and interrogate the things that are being done for and on our behalf. We don't even have, talk about trust and transparency and visibility and the ability for humans to override, technology when human outcomes are at stake. And we're even losing the ability to have even the skills to know where and how to interrupt these things. And so I think a different framework and a different set of lenses would force some of those questions. What are we actually doing, and who are we designing this for? And what does success look like? There aren't enough human answers in that conversation right now, which is why I say things like maybe women should be in charge of AI, or at least have a few more of us in the room. I'm offering different lenses that I don't think we're using enough of.
A lot of people think that when we say things like this, we're talking about just EQ, right?
Yeah.
And having more EQ built into
Yeah.
a technology. That's not what this is about. It's not just what it's about.
I like to think about, because I am a mom, but any parent or caregiver, anybody who is in charge for designing an ecosystem for another human to thrive in, what do we care about? We care about their safety and their protection. We're concerned about vulnerabilities. We're concerned about development, all development, psychological, social, physical. When you're literally in charge of another human being thriving or not thriving, you look at their ecosystem, their environment, what has access to them, what they experience. You look at that a certain way, and your priorities are very, very clear. It doesn't matter, nothing matters if that human being isn't safe and protected. It's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If
Absolutely.
they're safe and protected, then we can move on and make sure they're inspired and fulfilled and all of that stuff. Then we can move on to higher purpose. That's the conversation, because commercialism and capitalism and profit and all of those things rely on extraction.
Mm-hmm.
It's an extraction game. How much
Extraction of
can I
value.
get out of humans
Right.
at the lowest cost per unit, which creates my profit margin?
Right.
That system of extraction, we like to say we sort of even out the value exchange by renting your time and talent, and hopefully that's equal pay and all of that. But then why is burnout an epidemic? And why is engagement a problem?
Right.
So it's not an even value exchange.
And also the psychological safety
Yeah.
that some of these mechanisms that you're talking about, whether it's artificial intelligence in the chatbots or whether it's the artificial intelligence in the social media that does the targeting and let's just call it the incentive mechanisms that kids love to be able to watch these, what I call incessant videos or the content that they get, but then provides them with psychological trauma. And
Yeah.
then we have issues from it. So I guess
Yeah,
the
there's a
question I
lot
wanted
of studies coming out right now
yeah,
that the way we've designed content and media, call it the information economy. I don't know how much information and knowledge is really, but these short form videos that we built an entire platform, a multi billion-dollar successful platform called TikTok and many others on the
snap.
concept of these short form videos that are highly addictive.
Mhm.
They're definitely targeting the most vulnerable people who would consume that type of content. And they're vulnerable as well because their brains aren't fully developed. Their prefrontal cortex, and now we're publishing studies about our deteriorating brain health and our cognitive ability and
Right.
our relational skills and our inability to tell what's real and what's not. We can't even.
Are you talking about alternative truth?
Yes. And humans made this, and then
Yeah.
we have these shocked reactions when the tools that humans are making for profit and for commercial gain are harming humans. And then we put protections and guardrails, and we try to age gate too late. It was so funny. I was driving home with one of my teenage daughters the other night, and there was a commercial on the radio advertising a class action lawsuit against basically every social media
Right.
platform. And it was like, is your teenager suffering from eating disorder or ideating about suicide
Right.
or lonely or sad, or the list went on for a minute? Then join our class action lawsuit to go against every platform on the planet, and named all of them. And she asked me what was that all about, Mom? What is that?
Yeah.
And I said, honey, I think if we were to do social media all over again, we would probably do it differently.
So let's
Knowing what we know
right.
now. And that's what I keep saying about AI. What if we had a knowing what we know now moment
Right.
in a year, 5 years, 20 years? What would we wish we could back up and think about a different way? We
So let's start
can
there.
do that.
Let's go on that premise.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to rebuild social media, but I'm asking in the context of HR and utilizing AI, knowing what we know about how the world utilizes it today, which in many cases is all over the place. But if
Yeah.
we were able to take the lens that we're talking about and have women be at the center of what the need is,
Mm.
what would we be building? And by the way, if that's too broad, let me know because I'll narrow down the topic.
Well, so the first wave of AI so far has really been about automation. So it is an efficiency play. This is all about efficiency and productivity. It's doing the same things faster and at a higher margin. That's not all that innovative. It's exciting. Yes, agentic workflows are going to take over the workplace, and you can probably run $1 billion company with 100 people. That's exciting, again, for
For shareholders,
shareholders, for commercial reasons,
right?
but Like, just click ahead a few more times. What are we actually trying to achieve here? If you're trying to fix world poverty, if you're trying to expand, not contract the middle class, if you're trying to fix the economy, AI doesn't pay taxes. So I don't know what good it does us to literally, I always think about the workforce as a pyramid. There's a
Mhm.
very, very,
Right.
very wide base of
Right.
low-skilled, low-wage workers who do a lot of frontline, a lot of the work in a lot of industries that we have today. And that gets them paid, and that gets food on the table, and that makes the world go round. And just above that, there's the middle class. And it's not as big as the bottom of the pyramid, but the middle class is most of the economy. It's most of our
Right.
GDP. It's the people who are buying homes and cars and spending money on vacations, and they're a little bit more skilled. They have a higher level of education. They get paid a
Right.
little bit more. That's a pretty important part of the workforce pyramid as well. And then there's sort of the elite, sort of the highly skilled, most highly paid, the hardest to find, most sought after. And guess what? All of this AI that we're building and unleashing on the world is wiping out. Usually when innovation and technology sort of have a little sprint forward moment, we sort of hollow out the middle. It's usually the knowledge economy that sees some of that sprinting
Right.
innovation impact. This one is doing that, hollowing out the middle of the workforce pyramid. We've all seen the headlines around how fast knowledge workers are going to disappear over the next
Yep.
couple of years, if we like to believe the headlines. But
Yep.
it's also completely wiping out the bottom of the workforce pyramid, which
Especially
means
with robotics.
especially with robotics. So if there's no entry-level jobs and there are no ladders that lead up from what used to be entry-level, and then there was like career development and there were ladders we could see and understand, and we knew how to get mentored and how to acquire more skills to advance ourselves in these areas. All of that, not only the bottom, the entry level is getting wiped out, those ladders, those ways to sort of advance and develop yourself to improve your income over time and your promotability and all of that is dissolving. None of it makes sense anymore, which again, that's part of the innovation sprint that we're in, but I'm not sure what it's doing to us as a global workforce and economy. And are we leaving humans better off than we found them? I don't think we've thought through all of this yet.
And I think the other challenge is look at the demographics of who are in those layers and how we've treated those people throughout history.
Yeah,
Typically, they're either immigrants or they're people of color or they're women, and they're disproportionately getting impacted by that lower and middle layer,
right.
getting impacted by exactly what you're talking about. So we're just perpetuating the problems that we've created in the past now. And no offense, I'm going to get a little political. The political environment is making that worse and doubling down on it by the immigration policies as well as the economic policies of the current administration.
Yeah. Yeah. So what an interesting time. I do think about that. The fact that the AI era is overlapping with some other pretty interesting macro conditions makes it interesting and honestly concerning for a number of reasons, because this is the moment it's really hard to backpedal on governance. It's hard to put the toothpaste back in the tube. And I think some of what's happening, even Anthropic
Hmm.
in the Pentagon,
Yeah.
swearing
That
off.
was news that just happened, what, a couple of minutes ago or a couple hours ago?
Yeah, oh, yeah, exactly. But this is really important to pay attention to because this is the moment that we decide what's valuable and what's worth protecting. This is like, I mean, I'm a consultant at the end of the day, and I talk about governance all the time. And governance is not a bad word. It's the thing that
It's important.
protects innovation at
Yep.
speed and scale. You have to have it, and well done. It allows faster decisions and all of that stuff.
Accurate decisions.
Accurate, yes. And it allows overrides and interruptibility. Like you can fix things before they do too much damage. Like governance is supremely important for a million reasons. And I watch this showdown. I'm like, this is why you do governance. This is when you say, no, that's not what we agreed this is for. That violates our use cases. This doesn't have enough guardrails. This has too much downside, not enough upside. Like
Right.
this is when you say what matters. You say, that LinkedIn is, just to use an everyday example, LinkedIn protects users on its platform like to the they will go to the mat and say, no, we won't allow that. No, we haven't built that yet. No, we don't allow that use of our member data, because only one thing
Right.
matters to them: member data.
Right.
That's not what they're built for. And it makes it very easy for them to say no, even to commercial opportunities,
Right.
because they know what their hard yes is. And there's so many examples of that, but that's what we're seeing play out on a world stage right now. And it matters a lot, because we haven't drawn enough lines in the sand yet to say, I'm pretty sure we don't want to go there, because that's a slippery slope that's hard to get off of.
One example of this that I think a lot of us have heard or seen is the use of facial recognition,
Mm-hmm.
especially in law enforcement, where the use cases or the examples that were given to train the AI or train the models had so few African American faces
Right.
that it causes incredible error in the building
Yes.
of that. Now,
Yeah.
your point about governance, had we used the appropriate models with the appropriate percentages of people's faces that make up our population,
Right.
shouldn't that, I guess that maybe that's a dumb question because they got the models wrong. But
Yeah.
that's just one micro example of how we're using this today and how it's bad because it doesn't meet the need when
Mm-hmm.
we really need it.
It That's a perfect example, because when you say, look at all this data we have, isn't this amazing? What could we possibly do with it? There aren't that many people that would say, don't catch criminals.
Right.
Don't use this to catch violent criminals on our street. Not too many people would. We saw the Super Bowl commercial, right? About the
Mhm.
ring.
Yes.
We'll help you
And
find
look at
your
the
lost pet. I'm
pushback
pretty
though
sure.
on that.
What?
Look at the pushback on that ring.
Huge pushback, because we're getting smarter. We're like, you're not going to help us find our lost dogs. You're going to watch us.
By the way, I'm a ring guy. I've got ring cameras all throughout my house as well as
Yeah.
outside. So
Yeah.
I live it.
I know. So this is the conundrum. And this is why I say, get more people to the table, because we all care about different things. And there's too many tech
Yes.
bros running the world right now. Like, maybe we should ask a few more questions. It really is, how much are we willing to give up for what in return? And that, and it has to be good for us. I'm willing to give up a lot of personal private data if I feel safer, better protected,
Yeah.
if I trust how it's being used, if I can say when not to use it and for what. The trust is a big concern. But it has to be. This is the problem, and why I say this is the worst product pitch I've ever heard, referring to AI as a whole. You're saying all the value and gain is for you, and all the risk and downside is mine to absorb. I don't trust you. This is not transparent.
Yeah.
I can't see where it is and where it isn't. I don't know how my data is being
Right.
managed. There are so many unanswered questions.
But do you think that's because we've already ceded all of our control of our data to the dark web, and we've had so many data breaches in the last 10 years and maybe even longer
Right.
that it hasn't even actually become noise anymore because no one's talking about the data breaches that I get letters in the mail every day
Yeah.
that there was a new data breach.
I know. Every time I get a new spam text or a new robocall, I'm like, oh, my data is somewhere else. Somebody else got my data.
Right.
I'm getting a new spam text.
But to your point though, ceding control of all of those things that may actually be in the world of AI today, whether it's the things you write as an analyst, right? Because that's your intellectual property, that's your brain.
Yeah.
If someone's stealing and not giving you benefit back, right?
Right.
If we've ceded some control over some things, has it become, and I hate to use this phrase, the genie out of the bottle already? Or
I think it
can we
is.
get it back in?
Yeah. I always say I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Anybody who starts a sentence with, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but
This might sound racist,
has
but
probably gone down a rabbit hole or two. Yeah, exactly. Or I don't mean to offend you, but you're about to offend
you
me.
really smell, David.
Right. I really did. I saw I saw something. I don't even know if it was 60 Minutes or something.
Right.
That there's no more data. Like, there is no private data. Like, somebody's got it,
Yeah.
China, or it's not like somebody has, like,
Right.
it's all out there. And it, and can we trust?
Well, that's the problem, though.
That
We've trusted Google. We've trusted the web. We've
right,
given our stuff away and said,
right.
click. We don't even look at those
No.
things we click OK on these days.
Oh my God, the terms and conditions. When everybody started making cartoons of themselves, like
Yeah.
even a couple years ago, this started, and now it's even
Right.
worse. Like everybody's avataring themselves and making these cute little cartoons. I was like, oh my God, you guys, you just gave away all of your
Yes.
biometric data. Like you said, sure, have all my photos, have all my facial recognition, have access to like no, but we just think, oh, cute cartoon. I wonder what I look like
Exactly.
as a Viking.
Right. But we've all done it.
You just gave away everything to a platform you know nothing about, who's going to resell it to the highest dollar. Like, this is what we do.
And the Google Play Store and the App Store, the Apple App Store, there are so many things that we don't even look at. They're collecting your data
Yeah.
on. You just click OK
You
or
just
click
say, okay.
Get.
Yeah. Because it's convenient and we're getting a little bit of frictionless experience in everyday stuff
Benefit.
that we're doing, a little bit of benefit.
Yeah. But that's the point that you made before, though, is we've been looking at it from the wrong angle, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The person who designed all of that, obviously there were a lot of lawyers involved with that,
Yeah.
but they didn't think about the end result of the kid getting spammed with the GLP-1 ads, and kids
Right.
shouldn't be seeing GLP-1 ads because they're thinking body dysmorphia anyways, right? And that's what worries me, is that the things that they've given away or the things we've given away lead to so much targeting that
Mm-hmm.
it's completely out of our hands now. We can't put that back in the bottle.
Yeah, and some of that is, I mean, I actually don't mind when I get a personalized ad that's relevant to me and
Right.
actually shows me something that is meaningful. Like, oh, I didn't know that existed, or I probably would be interested. Like, I don't mind stuff that's right and relevant and it offers some convenience and efficiency. But again, back to trust. If everything is for commercial gain, if it's all about the bottom line and profit, I literally can't trust that any corporation has my back, because that's not what it's about.
No.
If somebody was sitting in a lab a number of years ago and was thinking about artificial intelligence, and what if we could? If the answer was, how do we offer psychological support to people who fill in the blank? How do we democratize knowledge and learning for all learner types of every ability and level?
Right.
What if we could close the poverty gap worldwide?
Right.
What if we could, no, we said, how do big companies make more money?
Yeah.
How do we automate workflows so we can get output cheaper? How do
And
we have
let
small
go layers
corporations
of
with
staff.
bigger profit? Yes, exactly. So humans aren't necessarily, and this whole thing, by the way, sounds like I'm anti-AI. I'm
No,
not.
you're anti-bad AI. That's what I'd put it.
I'm pro-human in the AI conversation.
Yeah, go
And
humans.
I don't think it's team AI versus team human, but I
Yeah.
do feel like there's a bully on the playground and somebody's got to protect the most vulnerable among us, because we are underrepresented in the labs and the boardrooms and the investor circles. Like, there is severe underrepresentation where the decisions, investment, future of the world is being decided for all of us, but we're not
Right.
all at that table. And that is super problematic.
But you've seen this dystopian movie, and whether it's Skynet and Terminator, or whether it's RoboCop, or whether it's something else, where not only are the machines taking over, but the machines are now turning against us. You've
Right.
seen these movies before, and
Yeah.
they look very familiar. And so, there are companies called Skynet, by the way, that does scare me. But I mean, that's the problem is that even in our dystopian movies, that's what's playing out now.
Mm-hmm.
It should scare people.
Yeah.
That's
Obsesses over adoption as if that's the holy grail. Let's get more users on the platform, more licenses, more logins. Just everybody just needs to get into these tools and get on board. I don't think that is the goal. I think literacy is important. It's important to understand what the tools are and how they work and how they can benefit us, how they could, we have to understand all of the potential opportunity of the tools. But I think blind adoption, just getting users into tools and systems because that shows value, I don't know that that should be the measure of value. I think somebody needs to better define what success looks like, what we should be measuring. Progress isn't user adoption. Progress needs to be defined a lot more differently. And especially with this job displacement conversation drives me crazy. This whole job displacement thing, we're priding ourselves on how much AI can take over and how many workflows and members of the workforce automation can wipe out. It's literally building the Titanic in plain sight. We're asking everybody to watch us build the Titanic we're going to sink on, and there aren't going to be enough lifeboats for all of you. So save yourselves, and I hope you can swim, but get on board. Like, that's literally what we're doing.
And I think you can see that already playing out with Eightfold and the workday issues, the workday legal issues,
Yeah.
where that's I think one of those what do they call them? Canaries in the coal mine,
Yeah.
where the canaries are starting to feel woozy and maybe drop. And they're showing that there are issues that are going on here that we need to be very careful about and start curating what you're doing. Like, who implements an ATS and doesn't configure it to their needs? Well, a lot of people actually right now, but
Yeah.
that's the problem is now that because artificial intelligence has become so ubiquitous in these tools, we need to be careful of how we're turning them on, right?
Yeah, and again, a measure of success in all of this is AI becoming so embedded and invisible. It's frictionless. We can't even tell where it is and where it isn't, as if that's a good thing. And it is from a user experience and integration
Right.
perspective. Like I always say hide the wires when it comes to this
Sure.
stuff. Yes, hide the wires. It should be embedded in where people work. It shouldn't interrupt my workflow. It should be completely frictionless. But in this conversation, hiding the wires means I don't know where the human machine teaming stops and starts and where
Yeah.
I can interrupt it. I don't know how to interrogate the workflow for what humans are responsible for
Right.
and what agents are doing autonomously. It should be an auditable workflow where I can work backwards and say,
Right.
okay, this was the data that was used in support of this decision, which led to this. Like, you have to be able to say, this is where a human or a piece of data or a
Right.
machine output led to tipped the next domino, tipped the next domino. And
Right.
that's what's happening in these hiring lawsuits. You can't tell where
Right.
those decisions were made.
We used to call that an audit log, by the way.
Yes.
But
Yes.
the interesting thing about that is that I've interviewed people who are espousing that they have AI recruiters who you
Mhm.
can't tell they're video bots. You cannot tell they're AI. So it's just like you and I are having this conversation, and
Yeah.
the AI would be so great that we'd have an automated JVB sitting across from me having this conversation, and I couldn't tell. And they were
Mhm.
really excited about that. And I said, "But
Yeah.
don't you worry about that? Is it?" And they said, "No, no. It could be multiple. You could have multiple interviews going at the same time for the exact same job and not worry the recruiter."
Yeah, I remember when we were all excited about our digital twins and do you have a
Exactly.
digital twin yet? And do you have a digital twin yet?
You have
I've
an
got
avatar.
one. I've demoed a lot of those AI recruiters and I saw one in stealth mode at HR Tech probably 3 or 4 years ago. It was like literally stealth, like their code, like they didn't even have a UX yet. Like I just watched code on the
Right, right.
screen and I talked to a robot recruiter. I was interviewing for a forklift operator position. And I was like, well, what about that one accident I had? And they were like, all good. I'm like, oh.
It cost $250,000 in product
Okay,
damage.
so
That's always okay.
you're not think like
Right.
but it sounded good. I could
Yeah.
interrupt it. It could flow with me. That was a few years ago. So this stuff is really good now. I got a
Yeah.
call the other day that I'm pretty sure was my first AI telemarketer call. I answered and it was just like a weird, I'm like, interesting. This is AI. I'm talking to AI right now. And I kept going a little bit out of curiosity. But how weird. Like, literally, how weird. Who said we wanted any of this anyway?
Exactly. But what it does do, especially in the world where you're trying to hire an evergreen rec and you're always trying to get a bench of hundreds of people,
Yeah.
it's not necessarily a bad thing to start with some of the most basic questions, and maybe
Completely.
that I kind of get,
Yeah.
but I don't like it in the absence of having the human in the middle, like you were saying before.
So
Having the
that's
person that
where I'll be a little bit more optimistic here. That's where I do like to flip the coin to the positive side of this. Back in my talent acquisition days and employer branding and recruitment marketing, when all this like new wave technology, personalized career sites and targeted job advertising, like we were starting to get pretty smart about all of that. One of my clients was Children's Mercy Hospital in Kansas City, and they're a massive research hospital. They recruit the world's best medical research talent to Kansas City. That's a tough
yeah,
recruitment gig.
yeah,
And they have the typical employer problem of having a whole bunch of job titles that
sure,
only make sense to you and don't make sense to the public. And only you know what the difference between an ABC coordinator 3
right,
and a, whatever. And so they piloted a product. It was HireVue at the time, but you could do
oh,
this with anything these days. But HireVue was sort of new and novel
right,
at the time. They piloted a different way to use that particular solution. They called it Introduce Yourself. You could
oh,
literally go to their website, not even their career site, because we make career sites hard to find.
yeah,
You could literally land yourself on their hospital website and see an option to introduce yourself. You don't know for what. You don't know if you're a front desk admissions
right,
coordinator or if you're a whatever, because, you don't know how that hospital system works and what you call all of your job titles. You could just talk for a few
yeah,
minutes and say, this is what I've done. This is what I like to do. This is what I'm passionate about. People tell me I'm good at this. I would
right,
love a job where and in their case at the time, this was probably 15 years ago, a recruiter or someone qualified would make their way through all of these interview submittals and they would figure out potential matches. So look at that use case 15 years ago and imagine
yeah.
what AI could do in that scenario
My
today.
gosh, it's amazing. And it's a really
If
great use case.
everything goes right, how powerful that could be for
Right,
opportunity democratization, for skills cross pollination, for just psychological assessment and evaluation. Like, you could present me with so many more opportunities that I would never think of for myself because you're able to connect the dots better, faster, at scale using technology. I like to think of all the things that can go right
yeah,
in that scenario. Can things go wrong? Yes. But that's what I talk when I talk about the value exchange, there has to be a higher likelihood of a whole lot of things going right
right.
and a very careful, thoughtful mitigation of all the things we already know because we've asked the right questions could go wrong. That's that's the smarter discernment and set of lenses that I ask us to bring to the table.
You know, Jess, when you were talking about that, the one use case to me that would be amazing in is the unemployment offices of the recruitment
Yes,
centers,
totally.
where, at scale, there are millions of people or hundreds of thousands of people who are getting to the stage in their job search where they're giving up. And if they had the ability to go to something like that and have it
Yeah.
suggest, here are 5 jobs in your area that you'd be great for, that, listen, you want a job? That's what you can do for right now.
Completely. I saw the same thing with my brother who transitioned from military to civilian work, and I've
Oh, yeah.
never seen a human more disheartened. He had security clearance, he had a leadership responsibility, he went on a number of deployments with lots of people looking to him for guidance and protection. Like, he trained hundreds of people, and then he retires from the military, and he said, you mean all I'm good for is running a shift at a factory? And I
Yeah.
said, nobody did. There was nothing to do that type of translation for him, that skills translation, that, if you did this, you can probably do all
Yeah.
of this. I also worked with, boy, we're going down rabbit hole. I also worked with PepsiCo way back in the day, and they're like, this is a problem. We
Yeah.
love hiring military people, and they deserve a better translator for
Absolutely.
everything they know how to do so that we can reap all of that value and goodness in our organization. So again, when technology gets better and better over time, think about all of those age-old problems we've all had forever and
Yeah.
how much better we can solve them today. As the technology gets better, that's a better solution to age-old problems that still deserve solving. That's the upside to all of this in my mind. I just don't want us to go so fast. We get all excited by dollars and cents and profit, and we're going to make a whole bunch of mistakes that we probably could have saved ourselves from if we just bring a different set of lenses.
I think that's a perfect place to end because I don't think I could have summarized it any better than that. So it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast.
I'm so excited this worked out. Thank you for having me. I'm glad I could be your guest.
And thank you for being here. And we're going to have you back again because I think there are so many other topics that we can cover with this much passion. So again,
definitely.
Thank you all for listening. Take care and stay safe. Thank you for listening to the HR Data Labs podcast. Don't forget to hit subscribe and share it with your network. You can also check out the recordings on Spotify or the HR channel, now on Roku and Fire TV. Thank you, take care, and stay safe.